Hey guys, welcome to this core flow. So basically what we're going to do today is it's not going to be just something that we are targeting our abs and core with. This flow is going to be incorporating a lot of muscle activation and movements that is going to help your arm balance and inversion game get to the next level. So basically all you're going to need is your mat. If you have a yoga block, that would be cool, but if you don't, you can also have a big book or something like that. Yeah, so throughout the whole movement, what I will target is a lot of our lower abs, drawing our ribs in, and these aren't the conventional exercises that you would do to build up abs per se, but they're gonna make you target your core in more ways that would help your yoga practice or life in general get a lot easier. Okay, so let's get right into it. We will move slowly with control. Make sure you're not just going through the movements just for the sake of going through the movements. See if you can feel everything that you're doing and make every movement that you're doing count. Okay, so basically what we're going to do is let's just get right into it. We'll start off at the top of our mat and make sure your feet are hip distance apart. Your pelvis is slightly tilted down. Like I said, in all of the movements, see if you can have your pelvis slightly tilted down. When you do this, you'll see that your abs contract. Draw your ribs in. So if your ribs are sticking out all the time, you want to draw that back in. You want to spread your scapula apart, but roll your shoulders back at the same time. I know this is two opposite things, but see if you can maintain that movement, that static energy. So from here, have the palms of your hands facing forward, draw your chin slightly back, close your eyes, come back to your breath. From here, we're going to begin to raise our hands up towards the sky. Really reach up towards the sky through your elbows and see if you can align your biceps with your ears. From here, if you are doing this, if you are sticking your ribs out, that is a compensation that we do to get our hands more back behind our ears. But see if you can bring those ribs in while maintaining your hands back. You'll feel your core firing up right now. So even if your hands come here when you bring your ribs in, that's completely fine. But see if you can bring it towards your ears without letting your ribs stick out. So bring your hands in, really reach up towards the sky, interlock your hands above your head, and then start side bending, creating some space in our side body. Come back to center, go to the other side, come back to center, and really reach up towards the sky. From here, we're going to hinge at our hips and connect our hands onto our mat. Have a generous connection with your hands onto the mat. You can have a generous bend in your knees. From here, even though in our forward fold, we're just folding over, what we're going to target is drawing our lower belly in and drawing our ribs in. So keep drawing them in, keep pushing the ground away, spreading your scapula apart as you draw your ribs in. You'll feel your core firing up if you're doing this right. From here, lift your chest halfway up, roll your shoulders back. Think about having a flat, neutral back. If you need to lift your hands a little bit above the floor to do this, that's completely fine. Roll your shoulders back, draw those ribs in, keep those ribs drawing in. Imagine, like, even if you can't see it, you're having a slight pelvic tilt downwards. Connect your hands onto the mat and then bring your knees down onto the mat. From here, place your fingertips aligned with your knees. Your elbows draw in, your back is protracted, your shoulder blades are drawing away from each other. Now, from here, push into the ground and see if you can lift your knees up. So you want to maintain this the space between your knees and your chest. So you're only lifting your knees up, holding for 3, 2, 1. Step your right leg back, followed by your left leg into your plank. From here, in your plank, protract your shoulders, draw those ribs in. If your hips are sticking up, draw them back down. Push out through your heels. And we're going to go into our Chaturanga. So start shifting your weight forward, hinging at your elbows, lowering down halfway. And then lift your chest up into your upward facing dog. And send your hips up and back into your downward facing dog. Now in your downward facing dog, wrap your triceps in, draw your shoulder blades away from each other, draw your ribs in towards your spine. You can have a generous bend in your knees. Start coming up high onto your toes. And from here, what we're going to do is we're going to lift our right leg up and start to shift it forward, keeping it hovering above the mat. Tap your right elbow and come back towards our left foot. Then we're going to get our left foot up, flex your foot, and think about drawing your leg bone into the socket. As you shift the weight forward, hovering your leg foot, tap it on your left wrist and come back. Do the same thing again with your right foot and then with the left foot. Come up high onto your toes and start to walk your feet in 1 inch at a time. So you're trying to keep your legs straight, plugging your femur bones into your sockets. As you come up towards the top of the mat, you can come onto your fingertips. Arriving all the way at the top, fold yourself over, still drawing your ribs in towards your spine, and then lifting up into your Urdhva Hastasana and bringing your hands back down onto your side body. So, now that we are aware of the movement, let's start doing this a little bit faster. Okay? So get your hands up towards the sky, really reach up. Think about drawing your biceps towards your ears. Start to fold yourself over, connecting your hands onto the mat. You can bend your knees, still drawing those ribs in. Lift your chest halfway up, roll your shoulders back. Always sucking your lower belly in towards your spine, drawing your ribs in. Bring your knees down onto the mat. Align your fingertips with your knees. Tuck your elbows in. Push the ground away, round your back. See if you can bring your knees in as close as you can to your chest. Now from here, if you want to make this a little bit harder, maybe you lift your toes up. Holding for 3, 2, 1. Step back into your plank. Push the ground away. Draw your ribs in. Holding for 3, 2, 1. Lower down into your Chaturanga. Chest goes up into your upward facing dog. Hips go up and back into your downward facing dog. From here, lift your right leg, flex your foot, and bring it forward, rolling your shoulders over your wrist. Tap your right wrist, come back into your down dog. Left leg, tap your left wrist, come back to your down dog. Right leg to right wrist, down dog. Left leg to left wrist, down dog. Come up high onto your toes and start walking your feet in 1 inch at a time. We're plugging our femur bones into our sockets, drawing our lower belly in towards our spine. We're working on that compression. As you arrive at the top, fold yourself over completely, lifting your hands up towards the sky, bring them down by our side body. Raise your hands up towards the sky, lower them down, come up halfway, bring your knees down onto the mat, align your fingertips, elbows draw in, close the space between your chest and your thighs. Take a deep breath in, Either you can keep your feet onto the mat or see if you can lift your entire body up this time. Holding for 3, 2, 1. Step back into your plank. Holding your plank, pushing out through your heels, round through your back, hovering, and then lowering down into your Chaturanga, into your upward facing dog, and then your downward facing dog. Lift your right leg up, flex your foot, tap your right wrist with your right toes, come back, tap your left wrist with your left toes, come back, right wrist, left wrist. Come up high onto your tippy toes and start walking your feet in. Drawing your lower belly in towards your spine. As you arrive at the top, fold yourself over completely. Hands come up and down by your side body. We're going to do this one more time. See if you can move a little bit faster, but control and targeting all the muscles that need to be targeted. Raise your hands up towards the sky, folding them down. Lift your chest up, halfway. Put your knees down onto the mat. Align your fingertips with your knees. Close the space between your chest and your thighs. Elbows draw in. Take a deep breath in. Lift everything up. Holding for 3, 2, 1. Shoot back into your Chaturanga or your plank. If you shot back into a Chaturanga, push yourself up into a plank. From here, push the ground away. Round through your back. Draw your ribs in. Push out through your heels. Start shifting forward into your Chaturanga. Upward facing dog and downward facing dog. Take a breath in, flex your right foot, tap your right wrist with your right toes, tap your left wrist with your left toes, right wrist, left wrist. Come up high onto your toes, walk your feet in, fold yourself over completely, hands come up, and then back down into your heart center. Take a moment here, come back to your breath. Okay, so you can, after we do it for the first time, you can always increase the reps of how many times you do each exercise, right? So we're going to start off seated on our mat. And now from here, you want to bend your knees, you want to place your feet onto the mat, and we want to keep our knees into each other as close as we can. From here, we want to hover our legs, our feet off the ground, bring our knees into our chest as much as we can, and hold our hands out. So we're holding for 3, 2, 1. From here, we plant our left foot. We take our right hand, we place it in the middle on the side edge of our mat, and we keep our right knee into our chest as much as we can. Push into our left leg and see if we can bring our right knee into our right tricep. Bring your right knee as close as you can to your chest, and then we're going to reverse this motion. So again, flip through your back leg and come into a seat, keeping your right knee in. From here, again, right knee to right tricep. Bring it in. Reverse. Come back. Right knee to right tricep. From here, roll your shoulders over your wrists and then send your right leg back into a 3-legged downward facing dog. Bring your right knee towards your chest and roll your shoulders over your wrists, taking it back into a 3-legged downward facing dog. Bring back into your chest, roll over your wrists, 3-legged dog. From here, what we're going to do from our 3-legged dog, we're going to bend our knee, open our hip out to the side, and see how far we can bring our right leg down. You want to roll over your left foot, placing your right foot down, and then opening up into your wild thing. Make sure you feel the stretch in your abs, in your core. Place your hand down, back onto the mat. Roll over your left foot. Come back into a 3-legged dog. Bring your right knee into your Right elbow, bring it to your left elbow, plant through your back foot and extend your right leg. From here you can have this hand extended up. Place this foot down and we're going to pulse our foot. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. From here you want to keep this hand hovering and bring your right knee back to your right tricep. Holding for 3, 2, 1. We place our hand down, our right knee is to our right tricep, and we're going to do some arm drags. Draw an imaginary line down to your right wrist, and then bring it back up, down, back up, down, back up. From here, push the ground away and step your right foot next to your right hand. Come up into your crescent lunge. And then start to straighten out your front leg as you place your hands down onto the mat to frame your front foot. From here, you can shorten your stance. Place your hands underneath your shoulders, come up high onto your fingertips, push the ground away, protract through your back. Straighten your front leg out as much as you can. See if you can push the ground away so much that your front leg hovers. Hovering for 3, 2, 1, and take it back into your downward facing dog. From here, we're going to do the same thing. So we lift our right foot up, flex it, bring your right foot to your right wrist, come back, left foot to your left wrist, come back, right foot to your right wrist, come back, left foot to your left wrist, and come back. Come up high onto your toes and bring both knees onto the mat. Take a seat onto your heels and come back to your breath. Okay, so once you gather your thoughts and you gather your breath, your heartbeat slows down. It's time for the second side. So we're going to start off this time seated on the right side of our mat. Have our knees in. Get your knees into your torso as much as you can and hover your legs. We're going to try and keep our knees into our chest as much as we can. You can have your feet pointed or flexed. Keep holding them in. This time we're going to place our right foot down, take our left hand, place it down behind us, keep this hand hovering, and see if we can bring our left knee into our left tricep. Placing your right hand down, bringing our knee into our chest as much as we can. Come back, reverse the motion. Keep this hand hovering, left knee into your chest. Come back, left knee to left tricep. Bringing it in, placing it down, coming back, left knee to left tricep. From here, you want to send our leg back into our three-legged downward facing dog. Bring our knee into our chest, roll our shoulders over our wrist. Knee comes back into our chest, send it back. Three-legged downward facing dog. Bring your knee into your chest, roll your shoulders over your wrists. Three-legged downward facing dog. From here, we want to keep our knee straight, bend our leg, and start opening out to the side. See how much you can go while maintaining both hands onto the mat, sending it back behind you, rolling over your left foot, placing it behind you, opening up into a wild thing, feeling the stretch in our hip flexors and our abs. Start rolling over your right foot, placing both hands onto the mat, coming into your three-legged downward facing dog. Bring your right knee to your right armpit and start arm dragging it all the way down to your left wrist and back up, down, back up, down, back up. Bring your left knee to your right tricep, plant through your right leg and extend out your left foot as you have your right hand hovering. Place your foot down and we're going to hover. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep your hand hovering. Bring your left knee to your left tricep. Holding for 3, 2, 1. Place your hand down and step your left foot next to your left hand. Open up into your crescent lunge. Oops, lost my balance there. From here, straighten out your front leg and fold yourself over, placing your hands to frame your front foot. You can shorten your stance, straighten out through your front leg, push into the ground, come up onto your fingertips, round through your back, draw your ribs in, push the ground away, and see if you can hover your left foot, holding for 3, 2, 1, and step back into your downward facing dog. From here, lift your left foot up, flex it, bring your left toes to your left wrist, come back, right toes to your right wrist, come back, left toes to your left wrist, back, right toes to your right wrist, come back. Come up high onto your toes and bring your knees down onto your mat, coming back to your breath and coming back to your heartbeat. See if you can slow down your breath, control it, make your inhales as long as your exhales, and your exhales as long as your inhales. Once you gather your breath and once your heartbeat starts to slow down, on your next inhale, place your hands down onto your mat, step back into your downward facing dog, lift your right leg up, bring your right knee into your chest, roll your shoulders over your wrists, step your right foot next to your right hand, lower your left leg down, your left knee down, place your left fingertips on the outside edge of your mat, use your right hand to grab your left foot, shift your hips back until you have a firm connection between your glutes and your heels, and start to shift your hips forward, coming into a twisting thigh stretch. From here, you want to roll your chest open towards the right side and really start to feel the stretch that it creates and gives you on your left hip flexors and your left abs. You want to really push into your hand and open out your chest to elongate your core. Holding for a few more breaths. Slowly releasing your leg and slowly placing your foot down. Place your hands down, step back into your downward facing dog. Lift your left leg up towards the sky, bring your left knee into your chest, roll your shoulders over your wrist. Keep pushing the ground away as you step your left foot next to your left hand. Place your right knee down. Place your right fingertips on the outside edge of your mat and use your left hand to grab your right foot. Shift your hips back, find that connection between your glutes and your heel, and then start shifting your weight forward again, rolling your chest open over your left shoulder. Really feel the stretch it creates in your right hip flexor and the right side of your core. Just breathing for a few more breaths. Slowly release your foot, place it down, place your hands down to frame your front foot, step back into your downward facing dog, bring your knees down onto your mat, and then come into a seat. Lay down onto your mat, bend your knees, place your feet onto the mat, lift your hips up, place them to the right. You can grab your right leg around your left. You can hook your right leg around your left if you want to, but it's not necessary. And then let your knees spill out to the left side. You can bring your hands into a cactus shaped position. And then just let gravity do its work. On each exhale, see if you can let gravity bring your right shoulder closer and closer towards your mat. Just breathing normally. Checking if you can let whatever you're holding on to go. Bringing everything back into center. You can unhook your legs. Set your hips back in the middle of your mat. Place your feet on the outside edges of your mat. Let your knees cave in. You can start to windshield wipe your legs. Place your feet back down onto your mat. Lift your hips up. Place your hips to the left this time. Wrap your left leg around your right. You can hook your foot if you want to. It's not necessary. And let your knees spill out to the right side. Keep your hands in the cactus shaped position. Just keep breathing normally. This time on every exhale, see if you can let your left shoulder inch more and more towards the mat. Not pushing it down, but seeing if you can let whatever you're holding on to go and let gravity do the work. Bringing your left shoulder towards the mat. Breathing normally. Bringing everything back in towards the midline. Unhook your legs. Place your feet on the side edges of your mat. Let your knees cave in. You can windshield wipe your legs. And then once you're ready, take a seat. So that's it, guys. That's our short core flow for this morning. And even I find this difficult at times, as you must have seen. It is challenging, but the more you keep targeting these muscles and isolating these muscles in these ways and drawing certain things in, it does help our arm balance practice and our inversion practice. So you can choose to make this longer or shorter. You can, if you want to make it shorter, just reduce the amount of reps that we do in certain things. If you want to make it longer, you can either repeat the entire circuit on its own, or you can just simply add more reps to the certain movements that we're doing. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you enjoyed, please like, subscribe, and comment, and recommend it to one of your friends. Namaste.